Hi everyone, thank you for joining us again for our fourth webinar. Today I'm going to go over the science behind our professional products. Originally it was supposed to be the trainers, but they actually asked me to do more of the science, and then they would talk about how it's implemented on the field. So let's begin. First, I'm going to talk about our activation serum. So those of you that are familiar with removals, there's many different type of removals out there, whether it's saline, acids, just creams. Xtract was started because of a humanitarian need to remove sex trafficking victims, their tattoos. So we were asked by this lady that was trying many different means to remove tattoos, and Dr. Ben and myself, the founders, we have never done something like this before. So we kind of had fresh eyes onto what everybody was doing. And we were able to see things a little differently. Most, I guess, implementations for removing tattoos always want to emphasize on disrupting the cells that encapsulate the ink, which are the macrophage cells. We, because of our holistic backgrounds and the way we work with skin, we started looking at it a little differently, and we were like, well, what if we stimulate the cells rather than disrupting them? Because what happens when you disrupt a macrophage cell or immune cell is it just calls more immune cells to come and clean up the debris and mess, which means it's coming to remove not only the cellular debris, but the ink that what you're trying to remove. So it's really a flawed, I guess, basis, and that's been proven in science. So we, with our activation serum here, we included 1,3-beta-glucan, which I will go over, Himalayan Soleil, and bentonite. Those are three main active ingredients. We also made it in a pH that is more alkaline. And the reason for this is we wanted the blood to flow freely. It also aids in penetration, and it aids in letting the ink out. Because if you have an acid in your body, it's coagulating the blood, making the cells sticky. And it's just going to trap that ink in there. And plus, it's not going to help us penetrate the ingredients to a cellular level. So the pH, the alkaline pH, is very important. 1,3-beta-glucan. This is our patent pending technology. When we originally looked at saline, we were basically, it's a means of dehydrating the cell or osmotic of the cell, but it really wasn't stimulating the cell. So the 1,3-beta-glucan, Dr. Ben uses in his skincare to stimulate and remodel skin. So it tricks the body into thinking there's a yeast infection. It comes from the cell wall of oats. And so your body is bioavailable, it recognizes it, increases more macrophages, it stimulates the macrophages that are there to release the ink. There's also so many amazing benefits of 1,3-beta-glucan. It has a very healing wound effects. It releases growth factors. It has receptors. It's able to tag on and have a lot of enzymatic responses to wound healing, immune modulators. It helps suppresses allergic reactions. So we're not only stimulating an immune response, we're stimulating a healing effect with 1,3-beta-glucan. It's also anticoagulant, so like I was saying about not clotting, so it's helping that flow too. Even if you took 1,3-beta-glucan orally, it helps with immune modulators, so it reduces cancer tumors. It's great for taking, say, after vaccines to pull out toxins. It's great for autistic people, you know, again, to pull out toxins from the gut. There's so many wonderful benefits from 1,3-beta-glucan, and that is our key patented ingredients, because we want to stimulate, we want to work with the cells. This is a holistic removal. We want to address the scar tissue formation before it forms, and that is our activation serum. So that is our first product that we apply after we needle. So like I was talking about the macrophage, I want to show you what happens here. So basically the tattoo ink goes in the skin, macrophage encapsulate it. It'll try to pull it out through the lymphatic system, but if the molecule's too big, it just resides under the skin, and that's what shows us the tattoo. Well, over time, they just die, and then they, you know, more macrophage come. I mean, it's just a whole system. That's why tattoos fade over time, too. So the macrophage is our scavengers, they're our workforce, Greek word meaning big eaters. So I like to think of them like little Pac-Men that come and clean up messes. So these are what our premises for focusing on tattoo removal. It's like, let's work with the cells, not against them. Let's not kill the cells. Let's stimulate them. So again, this is how it works. The 1,3-beta-glucan has many receptors, so it's able to activate, it's able to go after pathogens and having that immune response. It's unlike anything else that is stimulating for the immune response of the macrophages. Okay, let's talk about our Soleil. Soleil is a word, a Latin word, basically meaning the sun. So Himalayan salt is a very special salt because it's been preserved for millions of years under the Himalayan mountains. So it's pure. Think about millions of years ago, there was no pollution, toxins. So it's been pressed and condensed, and it has over 84 minerals in it naturally occurring. But something special happens when you put it with water. It creates this electromagnetic charge. It actually becomes no longer a water molecule, no longer a salt. It has its own molecular structure, but it resonates an energetic charge in your body that mimics our own natural charge. Think of what our body is. It's water, it's saline, it's salt, but it's able to pull out toxins. Even if you put it in your bath, it pulls out toxins in your bath. It helps to flush out your adrenals when you're stressed. Again, it contains over 84 minerals. It's able to break apart, like literally break apart heavy metal particles. The one thing that Dr. Ben and I, when looking at it, we did not want this to be a saline solution only, but we saw the importance of the fact of the ionization and electromagnetic charge that it mimics in our body. Plus, nothing carries, that vibration and frequency like our own water molecules in our body, and we're 70% water. So we specifically made this ahead of time in the lab before even putting it in our formulation. So it has that resonant frequency of healing. Sorry about that. So again, that's what makes our saline in our solution, our Soleil, a little different. Plus, it is less than 10% of our solution. Bentonite clay. So when looking at the saline originally, it just, with the 1,3-beta-glucan, it just wasn't working fast enough. It's like, we need to go in there and grab the ink. So we started looking, what else has an ionic charge? Very similar to saline or the Soleil. Bentonite clay does. Bentonite clay has been used for centuries for wound healing. It's also been used in chemical warfare by soldiers to drink it to pull out toxins. It's very gummy in consistency, so it goes in and it grabs the ink from the surrounding tissue and just pulls it right to the surface. This was such a game changer adding this. Like, you could literally see the ink coming to the surface. It also has 74 occurring minerals, and in laboratory animals, it speeds healing by 50%. And by the way, we do not test on animals. All of our products and ingredients are vegan and never tested on animals. So this is how ionization works. So everything in our body that's supposed to be in our body has a negative ion charge. Anything foreign has a positive charge. So chelation is a process where you bind ions. You know, it's just like a magnet. So with our ink chelation technology, because of the Soleil having the negative ionic charge and the bentonite having the negative ionic charge, and also because it has that pulling effect, it's able to go into the surrounding tissues and pull it to the surface. And so that's what we call our ink chelation technology. And what's great about that is for, say, ink migrations, or also inks that are harder to get out, like titanium. You know, titanium tends to roll up like cottage cheese and it's harder to get out. This is able to pull it out. So it works a lot better with, you know, the harder to get inks. And also allergens. It's able to pull it out of the surrounding tissue. And because the bentonite and the 1,3-beta-glucan having these immune modulators that suppress allergic reactions, it calms the tissue that is having the reaction. So it's actually cleaning. That's what chelation is. We have a secondary product. So like I said, it pulled it to the surface. I mean, immediately. And then we would look like, okay, now what do we do? It's on the surface. And because we are needling it, we didn't want to use suction or anything like that. So we're like, okay, let's create a drawing mask. We knew we wanted to put the bentonite in it as well because we wanted to continue that electromagnetic charge on the surface so the ink knew where to go. But we also put in, flip it to the next screen, charcoal, activated charcoal. Activated charcoal is just a carbon that has been baked at very high temperature. So it's very porous, like a sponge. Literally is like a sponge, a carbon sponge. And it binds 1,000 times its weight. So we put on the surface, this is our withdrawal mask, we put on the surface the electromagnetic charge of the bentonite, but then also the sponge effect of the charcoal just to absorb it. This process, after we've done the removal, and it helps to localize or increase localized oxygen. It calms down arrhythmia and edema, swelling, and redness. Our clients love it because it's very healing. They like the way it feels. And it pulls out 50% more ink. Like when we did our first studies and we did half of tattoos, it was amazing just to see how much more ink. And of course, all the clients are like, what, the next time we want to use the mask all over. Okay, this is more about the bentonite. And on the right here is the study of how it showed it healed 50%. So they did like a punch wound and then an incision. And because, you're adding the minerals in there and you're increasing the oxygen rate, it's going to heal faster. Plus, bentonite has been used as wound healing, but also for like resistant bacteria, like MRSA. Or if you just become resistant to bacteria, bentonite can go in there and remove that to like a natural antibiotic. So if you're thinking about, well, the removal process, I mean, what better way to pull out those toxins, pull out those allergens, and also have that natural antibiotic component to it. Essential oil of lavender. I was actually developing a product in Utah, and I met this medicine woman. She was like in her 70s, and she had this suitcase with all of her little tinctures in it, and she just like opened my world to a whole new component of formulations. So herbs and essential oils, and she said, whenever in doubt, always lavender. So initially when I was developing this, I was looking at frankincense, because I think of vibrational medicine, and frankincense has a very high frequency. I really don't like the smell of frankincense. So I started looking at lavender, and lavender, because she said, always when in doubt, lavender. It's so healing, but I couldn't believe the clinical studies for wound healing for lavender. So that was my go-to. It does produce collagen synthesis and fibroblasts and wound healing, accelerates granular tissues. I don't know about you, but I like my products to smell good too, and to actually have the clinical studies behind lavender and its wound healing. It just was a win-win to put this in there. Okay, I'm just gonna kind of go over why we're so different, and as a little recap. So Xtract stimulates immune response for not only removing the ink, but scar tissue. So that was the 1,3-beta-glucan that I talked about. Xtract uses ink chelation technology. So that's chelating, that's the ion bonds, which is the bentonite and the Saline. It binds heavy metals, toxins, allergens, works with all colors like titanium, because again, we're pulling from the surrounding tissue. Xtract uses secondary withdrawal mask containing activated charcoal, the sponge, bentonite clay, to keep that electromagnetic charge on the surface, and lavender to speed the healing. Xtract's aftercare is a moist healing process. I am not sure if you saw our last or previous webinars, but if you want to learn more about moist healing, or just want to learn more about Xtract, please go back to our webinars 1, 2, 3. And our patented zinc finger technology was also on webinar number 3. And last but not least, Xtract's process preserves the integrity of the skin and hair follicle. It has the lowest scar potential. Actually, it removes scars, which was also on our last webinar. We have the process to go in and rebuild and remove scar tissue. We can never, after you injure skin, you can never fully come back to what the skin was in the beginning. Anytime you damage a cell, it typically comes back 80%, or tissue, I should say. We, with our nutrition of the skin that we put on topically, we can bring your skin back and heal pigment or normalize pigment to about 90%. So when you're, as a professional, or even as a client, you want to return your skin back to normal as possible. Again, skin integrity, it also, the hair follicle, it preserves the hair follicle. We're not damaging tissues, we're healing. And that's our whole holistic method. I'm going to see if there's any questions. I don't see any on here. Lori, if you have any questions, can you text them to me? Other than that, you can either write on the comments of the video, or you can go to our YouTube channel, our Instagram channel here in the UK, or there in the UK, or here in the US. But we are here, we're trying to be so transparent and give you guys as much information about our technology as possible. So if you have something that you want us to touch base on, please let us know, so we'll do that in our next webinars. Thank you, and stay safe.